Inialana sanaki inialana sa. Ishtiti iliana masiki inialana masa anaki iliana ma. Inshi iliana masiki ialana mason toko onaliniana mana. Osti iliara bosoko onan iliana mana siki iti aramona si inialana. Ostuti inialana masi inianana ki inianana so ondola kati inia. Oboshi inialana mana si itiki alinianana mana si inianaka. Oshi inialana masiti itianakata anali ini ino no mosiki i. Oshi ilana masi inianana kanana inianana si alana. Oshu unialana masiki inialana masiki inianana ki alana masiki idia. The one and only way to hear God, to hear Source, is in pure silence. When the world's gone quiet, still, is when you'll be able to hear its voice. We are so caught up and mesmerized with everything that we do day to day, with the noise of the vehicles and the music, the humdrum of society, the power surging through the lines that line every single part of this world. To actually feel, know, and hear God, Source, you have to be in the elements. You have to be in the water. You have to be standing in the wind. You have to be barefoot, naked body, on the land. You need to be able to stand within the fire. You need to be able to know what it truly means to be burned. What it truly means to constantly be dying over and over and over and over again. A lot of people say that they're spiritual, call themselves religious, call themselves followers, leaders. But a lot of these people want to lead to teach. They want to shepherd and pastor a flock of people. But they live in contradiction to the nature and the supposed truth of their words. How can someone truly lead another if they can't lead themselves? How can God, Source, the deity, the Lord, whatever you worship, how can it be the same for you and me and all the other billions of souls on this planet? How can it be exactly the same for you and me when you and me are nothing alike? We are different. We may have similarities, but not one person on the face of this earth is the same. Not one. Not one blade of grass. Not one snowflake or raindrop that falls from the sky is the same. How then can I tell you who God is, who Source is, when I experience Source in a completely different way from you? You experience Source in a completely different way from me. How can someone judge you for your practices when your practices are from you? They try to tell you that you're wrong. But how am I wrong when you've never lived my life? You've never been in my skin. You've not felt what I felt, seen what I've seen, heard what I heard, or experienced what I experienced. So how can you then tell me that Source wouldn't love me? Or how could I tell you that Source wouldn't love you? When our interactions, our connections, the relationships that we all have with whatever we believe in is completely different, because it would have shown up to you in a way that you would understand because of what you were going through and because of the state of your soul and your spirit. And it'll come to me completely different because of the things that I went through, because of what I know, because of what I've seen. The world likes to impose cages, pretty, beautiful cages, for us to walk in. And once you walk in, the door closes. And then you can't get out until somebody comes along and shows you that you are an individual. That the only way to get out of that cage and out of that prison is to free yourself by facing yourself and by seeing the world differently, from seeing people differently, from experiencing the things you've experienced in a completely different light, by taking yourself out of the equation and looking at the equation. The world is so caught up in wars, the people fighting for a piece of land that isn't even theirs, making us pay for water that isn't even theirs. How can you go through life unhappy with your life? I used to be that way. I used to always see myself as a victim. I used to always ask, why did these things happen to me? And I realized that it didn't happen to me, it happened for me. To see the deeper meaning, to see the bigger picture than what I was looking at. We can look in a mirror and all we ever look at is ourselves and our reflections. We look at it as a singular reflection of who we are. But if you put a mirror in front of a mirror, when you look at it, you'll see that there are hundreds of dimensions within those dimensions. And each and every one of those reflections in the mirrors stands you. That is how vast and how infinite you are as a person. You are not bound to any laws any rules that are projected upon you, be it religion, spirituality, familial, governmental. When you learn to understand the meaning when you learn to understand that all of these texts are meant to keep you bound to certain rules, laws, doctrinations, who put God, who put source in a box? How can a God or being who created the infinite things be condemned to be stuck between two covers of a book or some script written on a scroll or parchment paper or rocks? Source will come to you in a way that only you will understand. It'll show itself to you in only ways that you can articulate, ways that you can see, feel, or hear. Who said that there is a heaven? And who said that there is a hell? Do we really know? If the universe is really as it seems? Have you been there? Have you been out of the atmosphere to know what is beyond the clouds that you see? Are you sure that there's a galaxy? Are you sure that those are stars? Are you sure that that's the sun and that the moon is the moon? Are you sure? I know you're not, because you've never been there. Somebody else has been there and they've told you that that is what it is. Don't take everything that the government, that the religious, pastors and preachers, coven leaders tell you as a truth. Because until you've seen it, until you've experienced it with your own eyes, breathed it in with your own lungs, felt it with your own two hands, doesn't necessarily mean that it is true or that it is real. Start paying attention. First thing I'm going to tell you, remember when you were a child, how high up in the sky the clouds were? You used to dream that you could touch them. Now go outside today or tomorrow and look up at the sky. And see how low those clouds are. They're almost so low that you can touch them if you stand on the roof of your house. Start questioning what is really happening. Start paying attention to nature, not the news, not the broadcasts, not the political conundrum that's going on, but go outside and pay attention to the earth. Pay attention, and you'll see.